Lucid Dreaming in Real Life. Many of you have read the Reality Transurfing book. That is a book that I'm very passionate about. In fact, I have it right here. It's probably the most impactful book I've ever read. And it's been a huge key to me being able to accomplish things that I honestly never thought I would be able to. And one of the folks in there says, how the heck does somebody know when they are lucid dreaming in real life? What does that feel like? What were you doing slash thinking when it happened? I'm sure everyone must have had the occasional brush with that and didn't know it. I tend to dissociate really often out of the blue, but I guess that can't be that. Okay, well, yeah, it's a little bit different than dissociating. However, I think there might be some common elements. So in the book, Tufty the Priestess live strolled through a movie. She is teaching you basically what is the TikTok trend of main character energy in that book. How to basically be at the cause of your world, to be the main character in your own film. That's really what Tufty is about. And she uses the analogy of a firefly, that a firefly is very attractive to all of the other insects, right? Because it's lighting up. So they kind of want to key off of the firefly because the firefly is live strolling through the movie, and the other characters are like, this must be the main character. You know, we all have in our minds some pretty interesting wiring, and we do tend to value authority. We do tend to value leadership. And on a subconscious level, when someone is more certain about reality, then we tend to fall into their perspective, right? Like we start to sort of form around the main character, or we start to be the main character. And so the idea is to be the main character in our movie. And so what is that energy? What is that like? Excellent question. That's really what Tufty is all about. Now, I'm sure many of you have had an experience where you did feel like that. And the big question here is, what were you thinking or feeling? And what I would say is that you're not thinking. It's kind of like, you know, if you're on a big high wire or like a big bridge or something, they're like, don't look down. You know, you're very high up. They're like, don't look down. What's interesting about reality transurfing is it illustrates the dynamics of reality and how it's working on an emotional level, which kind of makes you look down. You're like, oh my God, I feel excess importance. Oh my God, I feel this balance thing. Oh my God, I feel this emotional, roller coaster playing out. And now I'm aware of it. Before I wasn't aware. Now I can see these dynamics at play, these principles. And so it kind of fucks you up if, at first, right? It's like you're going through this conscious awareness and understanding and starting to see things. Now, eventually that becomes, unconscious competence, but it's becoming conscious competence where you're like, oh my God, I see all this stuff and it's crazy. I look down and now I realize I'm on a tall bridge, right? And so if you're thinking about that main character energy or, trying to exude that, trying to be a firefly, you're not the firefly in that scenario. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this. What does it mean to be that main character? What does that feel like? I think many of us have had that reference experience when we're in a flow state, when we're maybe somewhere social where we're the center of attention, we're the primary focus, where people are noticing us, where it's our day, where we graduated, where we're the coolest person in the room, where we're the smartest person in the room, where we're the person who is teaching the room. These are different things when someone's in love with you. These are different ways that we kind of get a peek into this idea of main character energy, and it's mostly through other people's validation. The big trick is to be able to do it ourselves without anyone else's help, without anyone else validating us externally that we're the main character, that we're drawing that from within. But what it tends to be like is more of a feeling and more of a vibe than thinking. It's not a way of being in your head. It's center screen, which I've talked about a little bit in our school group. Center screen isn't, I'm half cerebral, half emotional. I'm in the center screen. It's not. It's not your head or your heart, really. It's a higher perspective altogether. So it's not either one of those paradigms. It's a completely different paradigm. It's not a mixture of two. It's a completely different paradigm. Being in a flow state is not the same thing as being like, oh, I'm aware of what's going on inside me and I'm aware of what's going on outside me. That's a great place to begin to cultivate attention and understanding and experience what your surroundings are and what's going on inside of you, and start to differentiate the energies that are happening within, the energies that are happening externally that are influencing you in both cases. That's great. That's a really powerful awareness, but that ain't strolling through a live movie. That's, being awareness. That's understanding. That's being present, which is very important. But when it comes to developing and understanding a main character energy, my advice to you is to think of a time when you were getting that external validation, when that person was looking at you through a lens of, when you had a halo effect, when someone was looking at you through a lens of, not superiority, but just admiration, adoration, appreciation, seeing you as someone who they trusted, they admired, and that they wanted to be around, right? And what I would say is that from there, you can basically activate that emotional state within yourself, right? Now you're not all in your head trying to be confident and stand up straight and talk with authority or any of that. You're just like, hey, man, I've been here before. I know what it feels like to be valued as the firefly. And I'm certain about what I'm doing. Like this happens to me, I'll be dancing, right? Like dancing gets you out of your head for some people, gardening, walking, exercising. These are all different things. But you can cultivate this feeling and this vibe, as corny as it is to say, but you cultivate this vibe of awareness, and it's authentic and it's true to you. But you can use reference experiences to get back into that emotion. You can use how you've been perceived by others and the validation that's come along with that in order to embody and embrace that energy, right? Like the way that it feels, it's going to be different for everyone. There's probably even levels to it, but people are just naturally attracted and drawn to people who have a sense of certainty about reality, who have a sense of understanding who they are, who are clear in their essence, who are unfazed. And you're going to get tinkered with, like you're going to get messed with when you're in that frame. So you're not going to always be able to hold that mental state. And that's okay. That's part of the learning process. The beginning of it is to feel inside what's going on, see outside what's going on, and really be present and experience both of those. From there, take a reference experience of a time when you were just crushing. Maybe it was on the dance floor, maybe we were on stage, maybe we were leading a group through the woods or paddling or whatever, where you just felt in control, where you felt comfortable and like you belonged in your environment, and begin to feel that in your body, whatever that takes in your imagination. I can think of several times when I've been in a really good emotional state, and if I can draw from that, right, then when I go into a new environment, very often I will notice that people are kind of noticing me. They're like, who is that guy? What is he doing? I feel unaffected by the environment and like I'm at the cause of my own emotional state and well-being as opposed to the other people in that environment. And now as you practice that and you go to different environments, it gets more and more challenging to hold that. But if you can be around, let's say, a bunch of kindergartners who all look up to you and you're the leader, well, that is a great reference experience to draw from. And then from there, you just elevate and escalate it. But it should be a flow state. It should feel like you're not thinking. Like if you're thinking, you're not in it. If you're just experiencing and you're truly like in the moment and doing what you want to do right now without any hesitation, you're in right action from the Bhagavad Gita. And that's the same thing. You're just truly in alignment with yourself and moving in the flow of alternates. Cool. I hope that helps to illuminate. I would just take a moment and just do a quick assessment. When have I felt like this? When have I felt like the leader? When have I felt like I was in control of a situation? When have people keyed off of me? When did I have a strong frame, so to speak, a strong outlook? And how was I able to develop that? What happened? What was the emotional state primarily? And how can I implant that and put that in my own mind? This is something that I might like to talk to Abby Ramsey about, and I'll pick her brain on it, and maybe we can work on some exercises for you guys to get into that main character energy so you can be the firefly. I hope that's helpful. Much love. Appreciate it. If you're not already in the school group, what are you doing? Get in there. And we'll see you in there. We'll see you guys on a live call, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.